Alex never expected the day to begin with confusion. He was standing near the academy gates when his friend Koro, an alien from the Valen race, walked up with an unusual expression. Koro was usually calm and cheerful, but today his large silver eyes had a strange focus. Without the usual small talk, Koro told Alex that his mother had invited him to their home for dinner. At first, Alex thought he had misheard. He even laughed awkwardly and asked if Koro was joking. But Koro shook his head, serious and calm, and repeated the invitation. The idea surprised Alex more than he wanted to admit. He and Koro had been friends since the beginning of the school term, and while they had studied together and shared meals at the academy, Alex had never imagined meeting Koro's family. Humans and Valans lived side by side in the colony city, but there was always distance between them. Some humans were nervous around the aliens, and some aliens seemed cautious of humans in return. It wasn't hostility, just a layer of polite separation. Because of that, Alex could not understand why Koro's mother would want to meet him. As the day passed, the invitation stayed in his mind. During class, when teachers spoke about history or mathematics, Alex kept thinking about the strange request. Why him? He was just another student, not anyone special. Koro was intelligent, skilled in sciences, and often admired by teachers, but Alex was simply average. He liked drawing, reading, and exploring new places, but none of those seemed like reasons for a Valan family to notice him. When the final bell rang, Koro approached again and reminded him of the invitation. Alex hesitated, then nodded. Something in Koro's tone made it clear that this was important. Alex decided he could not refuse, even if it was strange. He followed Koro through the busy colony streets where humans and aliens moved side by side under the tall glass towers. Shops glowed with bright signs in different languages, and the smell of food mixed from many worlds drifted across the air. As they walked further into the alien district, Alex noticed how the city changed. The architecture no longer followed human style. Instead of straight lines and square buildings, Valan homes were curved, shaped like shells or flowing waves of stone and metal. The streets grew quieter, and the lights had a softer color, almost like liquid silver. Alex felt both wonder and nervousness. This was the first time he had stepped so deep into their district, and he could not shake the feeling that he was out of place. Koro walked confidently, but Alex's steps slowed when they reached a tall building, shaped like a spiral rising into the sky. The surface looked alive, shifting slightly with patterns of light. Koro pressed his hand against the door, and it opened with a soft sound. "Come in," Koro said. "She is waiting." Inside, the air was warm and filled with a faint scent Alex could not name. The floor glowed faintly under his shoes, and the walls curved smoothly without sharp corners. Everything felt gentle yet alien, as if he had entered a dream. Then at the center of the room he saw her. Koro's mother stood tall, her silver eyes brighter than her son's, her movements graceful like flowing water. She was dressed in fabric that shimmered between colors, never resting on one shade. When she looked at Alex, he felt as though her gaze reached straight into his thoughts. Still, she smiled with warmth, and the tension in his chest eased a little. "Welcome, Alex," she said in a calm voice. Her words carried a faint accent, but they were clear. "I am pleased you accepted my invitation." Alex bowed slightly, unsure of the correct greeting. "Thank you for inviting me," he replied carefully. His voice sounded small in the elegant room. She studied him for a moment, then gestured toward the inner chamber. "Please sit. You are our guest." As Alex followed, he noticed strange objects placed around the home. Glowing crystals, soft musical instruments that seemed to hum when touched by the air, and artwork carved from living stone. He wanted to ask questions but held back, afraid of sounding rude. When they sat, a servant brought a tray with drinks that shimmered faintly in the light. Koro's mother watched as Alex lifted the glass. He hesitated, unsure if it was safe, but then sipped politely. The flavor was unlike anything he had ever tasted, sweet, bitter, and sharp all at once. She nodded slowly, as if his reaction had told her something important. All through the first moments, Alex felt as though invisible threads were weaving around him. He could not shake the feeling that this was more than a simple dinner. Every smile, every gesture carried meaning he could not yet understand. Koro seemed relaxed, but his mother's gaze was different. She was studying Alex, measuring him, though he did not know for what reason. The thought repeated in his mind again and again. Why had she invited him? Why him and not any other human student? The answer remained hidden, waiting behind her calm smile. Alex sat quietly, unsure of what to say. The chamber felt both welcoming and strange. The seats were not chairs but soft rounded cushions that adjusted themselves when he sat down, holding him gently in place. A faint hum echoed through the walls, almost like the house itself was alive. He wondered if it was a design of the Valens or something completely natural. Everything inside Koro's home seemed designed to remind him that this was a world different from his own. Koro sat beside him, relaxed, while his mother poured more of the glowing drink into their glasses. She spoke little, and yet her silence carried a weight. Her silver eyes remained steady, watching Alex as if every movement of his hands, every small shift in his body, meant something. Alex could not stop himself from feeling nervous. He straightened his back, kept his voice careful, and tried to hide the restless thoughts spinning in his head. After a pause, Koro's mother spoke again. "You are different from the others I have seen," she said softly. "Tell me, Alex, why did you choose to befriend my son?" The question startled him. It felt too sharp, too direct, and yet not unkind. Alex searched for an answer. He remembered the first day he met Koro. When no one else wanted to sit near the quiet alien student, Alex had sat beside him simply because there was an empty space. Later, they had discovered a shared interest in art and puzzles. That simple choice had grown into a friendship. "I didn't really think about it," Alex admitted honestly. He was sitting alone. I sat next to him. Then we talked, and I liked talking to him. That's all. For a moment, silence filled the room again. But Alex noticed something shift in her expression, almost like approval. She nodded slightly and asked no more about it. Instead, she gestured for the meal to begin. The food arrived on wide plates filled with dishes that glowed faintly or released gentle steam. Some looked like delicate plants, others like sculpted crystals, and some moved faintly as though still alive. Alex swallowed his unease and remembered his manners. He picked up a small piece of food with the strange fork-like tool provided and tasted it. The flavor exploded across his tongue, unlike anything human cooking could prepare. Sweet, sour, bitter, and salty all at once, it was overwhelming. But instead of spitting it out, Alex forced himself to chew and swallow, then offered a polite smile. Koro laughed softly. "It is your first time eating our home dishes. You will get used to the taste." Alex nodded, though he wasn't sure he would ever get used to it. Still, he continued to eat, trying each item even when he was unsure. Each time he did, Koro's mother observed him with quiet intensity. She seemed less interested in whether he enjoyed the food, and more in how he reacted to strangeness. The conversation turned toward Earth. She asked about human families, about traditions, about what humans valued most. Alex answered honestly, though he felt his answers were simple. He told her about family dinners back home, about the way people argued but always came back together, about how humans sometimes fought over small things, but defended one another fiercely when danger appeared. He spoke about his love for drawing and how humans used art to express feelings when words were not enough. Koro's mother listened without interrupting. When he finished, she leaned back and closed her eyes for a moment, as if reflecting deeply. Her silence stretched long enough that Alex wondered if he had said something wrong. But then she opened her eyes again and smiled faintly. "You speak with honesty," she said. "That is rare." Alex felt warmth in his chest at her words, though confusion grew stronger. Why did it matter so much to her? Why did she study him so carefully? Almost as if he carried answers she had been searching for. After the meal, she invited them into another chamber. The walls were covered with moving art, living images that shifted like memories caught in water. Alex stood mesmerized by them. Some showed distant planets, some showed great battles, and some showed quiet moments of families gathered together. Koro's mother walked beside him. "Do these images disturb you?" she asked. "No," Alex replied softly. "They are beautiful. They feel alive." "Many humans become afraid when they see memories that move," she explained. "You do not fear them. You look with wonder." Alex thought about her words as he stared at the glowing walls. He realized then that this evening was not just a simple dinner. She was watching, testing, weighing his every action, but he still did not know the reason. He wanted to ask but did not dare. When the visit ended, she escorted him back to the door. Her voice was calm as she said, Thank you for coming, Alex. You will return again soon. There is much more I wish to know. Alex nodded politely, though his mind spun with questions. As he walked out into the silver-lit streets with Koro, he could not hold back any longer. Koro, why did your mother invite me? He asked quietly. Koro only gave a small smile, one that carried mystery. You will understand later, he said. Alex felt both uneasy and curious. Whatever the reason, it was not ordinary. He had stepped into something larger than he realized. The next day at the academy, Alex could not focus on his lessons. Words written on the board blurred in front of him. Numbers and diagrams meant little. His mind kept returning to the dinner at Koro's home. The questions had been too pointed, the silence too heavy, and the watchful eyes of Koro's mother too sharp. He had felt as though he were part of something hidden, a conversation below the surface of ordinary words. During the break, Koro sat beside him in the garden area, where humans and Velans gathered to eat. The sun shone across the colony dome, filtered through protective glass and cast a soft glow over the plants. Koro chewed calmly on a slice of his glowing fruit while Alex played with the sandwich in his hands. You still wonder about last night? Koro said. It was not a question but a statement. Alex sighed. Of course I do. Your mother kept studying me like I was being tested, and she said I should return again soon. Why me, Koro? I'm just... Koro smiled slightly. That is why. You are yourself. You do not try to be more, and you do not hide what you are. The answer only deepened Alex's confusion. He wanted to press further, but Koro's calm expression told him the conversation would go no further for now. Later that evening, as Alex returned to his quarters, he found a message waiting for him. It was from Koro's family. The message was simple: return tomorrow evening. There are questions left unanswered. Alex sat staring at the words for a long time. He felt torn. Part of him wanted to refuse. He was not comfortable being treated like a puzzle piece in someone else's game. But another part of him was deeply curious. Something important was happening, and for reasons he could not see, he was at the center of it. Finally, curiosity won. The following evening, he walked again through the alien district. The spiral-shaped building loomed in the silver light, alive with shifting patterns. When he stepped inside, Koro's mother was waiting in the main chamber, calm and graceful as before. Welcome back, Alex, she said. I am glad you accepted. Alex nodded politely, though his voice was tight. I don't really understand why I'm here. But I came because I want to know. Her eyes gleamed faintly as if she appreciated the honesty. She gestured for him to sit. This time no meal was offered. Instead, she brought forward a strange device, a small sphere of light that floated above her palm. I will not hide it from you any longer, she said slowly. I wish to see how you respond when faced with the unknown. This is not a dinner. It is a measure, Alex frowned. A measure of what? Of what makes humans different. She placed the glowing sphere on the table between them. It expanded, projecting an image in the air. A landscape broken by storms, rivers of fire, and falling meteors. The ground shook in the vision, and a deep voice explained in Velan language. Koro translated for Alex. It is a survival test. A world broken and dangerous. You must say how you would survive there. Alex stared at the scene. The alien world was chaos, hostile in every way. He saw no shelter, no food, no clear path forward. For a moment he felt panic. His first instinct was to admit he would fail. But he stopped himself. He thought about how humans face the unknown throughout history. By refusing to give up, by creating paths where none existed. I would look for anything useful, Alex said slowly. Even if it doesn't seem important. A rock, a stick, even the ruins. I would try to build something to protect myself, even if it was small. And I would keep moving because staying still would mean the storms catch me. The vision shifted again, showing deeper challenges, alien predators, collapsing mountains, endless nights of freezing winds. Alex swallowed hard but continued. I wouldn't survive by being stronger than all of that. I would survive by refusing to stop. Maybe I'd fail, but I'd keep trying new things until something worked. Humans. We don't always know the answer, but we don't stop searching for it. When he finished, silence filled the room. Koro's mother studied him with an expression he could not read. Finally, she touched the sphere and the images faded away. You do not answer with certainty, she said. You answer with persistence. That is the human way. Alex wasn't sure if that was good or bad, but he nodded anyway. His chest felt tight but also strangely proud. Koro's mother leaned closer. Our people are skilled in knowledge. We know much. But when the unknown comes, we hesitate. We fear breaking tradition. Human, you improvise. You create. That is why you are here. I needed to see it myself. Alex blinked, finally understanding part of the mystery. She had not invited him out of politeness. She had invited him because she wanted to look at the human spirit directly, not through books or reports. As he left that night, the streets felt different. The silver lights of the alien district no longer seemed only strange. They felt like doors opening, leading him into something larger than he had ever imagined. And yet, one question remained in his mind, stronger than before. Why did it matter so much to her? Alex returned to his quarters that night with more questions than answers. The survival test still played in his mind, the storms and fire rivers, the predators with sharp glowing eyes. But more than the test itself, it was Koro's mother's words that echoed. Humans, you improvise. You create. He had always thought of himself as ordinary, just another student trying to get through the academy. Yet somehow his simple answers about persistence seemed to matter to her. Why? What was so important about human stubbornness? The following day, Koro met him after lessons and asked if he would come again that evening. Alex hesitated, but in the end, his curiosity was stronger than his fear. He agreed. When they arrived at the spiral home, the door opened as though it had been waiting for them. Koro's mother stood in the same chamber, calm and graceful, but this time there was no food, no small talk. She led them directly into a deeper part of the building Alex had not seen before. The chamber they entered was vast, with high ceilings glowing faintly. Around the edges stood tall crystal structures humming softly like voices speaking far away. In the center was a long table, and around it sat several other Vaylons, older, stern, their eyes sharp with curiosity. Alex froze. He had not expected an audience. He glanced at Koro, who gave him a small, reassuring nod, though even his calm face seemed slightly tense. Koro's mother stepped forward. This is Alex, the human I spoke of, she said to the group. Tonight he will answer not only to me but to all of us. Alex's throat tightened. He had thought he was being tested before, but now it felt official. He was standing before a council, though he did not understand why. One of the older Vaylons leaned forward. His voice was deep, carrying authority. Human, do you know why you are here? Alex shook his head. No, I only know your questions keep coming. I don't understand why me. A murmur spread around the table. Koro's mother raised a hand and the room grew silent again. She looked at Alex with calm but steady eyes. You are here because you represent more than yourself. You are not only Alex, you are humanity. The word struck him hard. He almost laughed at the idea. He was just a student, not a leader, not a warrior. Yet here these powerful aliens sat, watching him as though he carried the weight of his entire species. She continued. Our people, the Vaylons, are part of the council that guides this colony. We have long debated the place of humans. You are young in the stars, but your presence grows stronger. Some of us believe you are too reckless. Others believe you carry qualities the galaxy desperately needs. To decide, we must see for ourselves. Alex listened in silence, his heart pounding. Now it made sense, the dinners, the questions, the tests. They were not only curiosity. They were judgment. Another Vaylon spoke, her voice sharper. Humans fight too easily. You destroy as much as you build. Why should we trust you with more power, more responsibility when you bring chaos with your passion? Alex felt a sting at her words. He thought of Earth's wars, of mistakes humans had made, but he also thought of how his people always rebuilt, always reached again for the stars. He took a deep breath and answered carefully. It's true, he said. Humans argue, we fight, we make mistakes, sometimes big ones, but we also learn. Every time we fall, we stand again. We don't stay broken. That's why we're here on this colony, trying to live beside you. If we were only destructive, we would never have reached this place. The room fell silent. The older Vaylons exchanged glances, but none interrupted. Alex's words seemed to hang in the air like weightless stone, simple yet difficult to ignore. Koro's mother spoke once more. Do you see? This is what I wished you to witness. Honesty even when faced with doubt. Persistence even when judged. Humans carry flaws, but also something rare, an unwillingness to surrender to despair. Alex's face grew warm. He was not used to speaking for all humanity. He felt small, unworthy, And yet, for the first time, he sensed that perhaps his ordinariness was exactly what gave his words meaning. The council ended without further questions. The Valans rose and left silently, their expressions unreadable. When only the three of them remained, Alex turned to Koro's mother. "You could have told me from the beginning," he said, his voice quiet. She tilted her head, her shimmering robes catching the soft light. "If I had told you, you might have tried to give the answers you thought we wanted. But we needed to see your true self. And we have." Alex looked down, unsure how to respond. His thoughts swirled with doubt and pride, fear and curiosity. He was just one boy, but somehow he had been chosen to stand in a place far bigger than himself. As they left the chamber, Koro placed a hand on his shoulder. "You did well," he said softly. But Alex's mind still raced with one burning question. What would happen now after they had seen him? The following days felt heavier for Alex. Everywhere he walked in the academy, he wondered if hidden eyes were watching. He no longer saw Koro's mother as only a parent. She was a judge, part of something larger, something that could shape how humans were seen across the colony. Her words still echoed inside him. "You are not only Alex, you are humanity." He tried to continue life as normal, but his mind was restless. When teachers spoke, their voices faded behind his thoughts. When his friends laughed, he struggled to join them. Koro remained calm, but Alex noticed that his friend watched him more closely, as if waiting for something to happen. That something came sooner than Alex expected. One evening when he returned to his quarters, a message was waiting again. This time it was not simply an invitation. The words glowed clearly. "A trial awaits." Come prepared, his stomach tightened as he read it. A trial. This was no longer polite questioning or strange dinners. This sounded like a test that carried weight. He almost thought of refusing. But he knew that refusing would answer a question too, one that would not favor his people. The next evening, he walked once more into the alien district. The spiral home looked the same as before, yet tonight it felt more like a gate than a house. Inside, Koro greeted him silently and led him to a chamber below the main floors. The chamber was wide, circular, and dark except for glowing symbols on the floor. In the center rested another of those strange floating spheres, larger than the one he had seen before. Around the edges stood several Valans, their faces unreadable. Koro's mother stepped forward. "This is the trial," she said. "It is not a test of strength nor of knowledge, but of how you face the unknown. We will show you a scenario and you must act. There will be no correct answers, only choices." Alex swallowed. His throat was dry, but he nodded. The sphere pulsed with light, and suddenly the room dissolved. He found himself standing in a vision so real it felt alive. Around him stretched a broken station, metal walls bent and sparking. The air was filled with smoke, alarms blaring. Somewhere close, voices cried for help. At first, Alex panicked, thinking it was real. But then he remembered the sphere. This was the trial. Still, his heart raced. The cries sounded too real to ignore. He ran toward the sound and found a collapsed corridor. Behind fallen beams, two Valans were trapped, reaching out with desperate eyes. Alex tried to lift the beam, but it was too heavy. He looked around quickly. No tools, no machines, only loose pipes and broken panels. His mind raced. He could not lift the weight, but maybe he could use leverage. He grabbed a long pipe, jammed it under the beam, and pushed with all his strength. At first nothing happened, but then the beam shifted just enough. The Valans crawled free, coughing, their eyes wide with relief. The vision shifted again. Now he was in another chamber filled with darkness. Strange creatures with glowing teeth moved closer, surrounding him. He had no weapon, no defense. Fear shot through him. But then he remembered the broken panels he had seen earlier. Sparks had leapt from them. Electricity. Quickly, he tore a piece of loose metal from the ground and struck it against the sparking wall. A shower of sparks leapt out, bright and sharp. The creatures hissed, drawing back. He waved the glowing metal wildly, not as a weapon but as a shield of light and noise. It worked. They retreated into the shadows and he slipped past them. Again the vision changed. This time the floor shook, collapsing into fire below. A narrow path remained, but at the far side a small group of children, both human and alien, cried out in fear. The path was too unstable to hold everyone at once. Alex's chest tightened. If he went first, they might not follow. If he went last, they might fall before he reached them. He crouched low and spoke loudly, his voice steady even as fear burned inside him. Follow me. Step where I step. Don't look down. Just trust me. He led them carefully, slow step by slow step, speaking encouragement with each move. The path shook, stones falling into the fire, but somehow they crossed. When they reached the other side, the vision dissolved. Alex found himself back in the circular chamber, gasping for breath, sweat on his forehead. His legs trembled as though he had truly run and fought. The sphere dimmed and vanished. Silence filled the room. The Valens watched him, their silver eyes shining. Finally, Koro's mother spoke. You faced the unknown with no plan, no weapons, and no guidance. Yet you acted. You adapted. You created answers where none were given. This is the essence of humanity. Alex dropped to his knees, exhausted but also strangely proud. He had not been perfect. He had been afraid, desperate, unsure. But he had not stopped moving. Koro helped him stand, his calm face now carrying the smallest trace of a smile. You see now why she invited you, he said softly. Alex nodded weakly. For the first time he began to understand. He had been brought here not because he was special, but because he was human. And in the eyes of the Valans, that was special enough. After the trial, Alex felt both exhausted and alive. He walked through the colony streets with Koro beside him, their steps echoing faintly on the smooth silver pathways. The stars above the dome sparkled, distant and serene, yet Alex's mind was restless. The trial had shown him the danger, the fear, and the unknown. But he still did not know what the ultimate judgment would be. When Koro's mother sent a message that evening, Alex's stomach twisted with nerves. Return. Tonight you will understand. Alex arrived at the spiral building and entered the familiar chamber. The glowing floor and soft hum greeted him, but this time there was no sphere, no council. Only Koro's mother waited, standing with a calm strength that made Alex feel small but safe. Alex, she began, her voice steady and clear. You have faced what we asked of you. You acted when others might hesitate. You adapted when others might fail. You survived where others would surrender, but this is only part of what I must tell you. Alex swallowed. I don't understand yet. I did what I could. That's all. She stepped closer, her silver eyes warm yet piercing. That is exactly why you were chosen. We, the Valans, study and plan. We calculate every possibility. We rely on knowledge passed down for generations. Yet there are moments in life, in the galaxy, when knowledge alone is not enough. That is when humans are remarkable. You act, you create, you persist. You carry hope in ways our people sometimes forget. Alex felt a shiver of pride mixed with disbelief. Him? Ordinary Alex who struggled with math and could not run as fast as Koro, and yet she was praising humanity itself through him. You see, she continued, our species faces challenges we cannot always control. New worlds, strange beings, unknown dangers. We wondered, can humans truly rise to these challenges? Can you be allies, protectors, leaders when we ourselves hesitate? Alex shook his head, still trying to comprehend. I don't know. I only did what felt right. That is precisely it, she said with a faint smile. Your actions were honest, your mind flexible, your courage quiet but steady. You did not act for praise, for reward, or for approval. You acted because it was necessary. That is what makes humans unique. Alex looked down. He had never thought about it that way. Humans often thought of themselves as ordinary, fragile, or weak. Yet here, an entire alien species measured their value not by technology or strength, but by their heart, their spirit, and their will to persist. She walked slowly around him, observing his face, his posture, his very presence. We have debated for many cycles whether humans can be trusted with responsibility beyond simple labor or observation. Many believed humans were reckless, passionate, and dangerous. But after seeing you, I can say this. You carry qualities we lack: flexibility, innovation, persistence, the ability to act when logic fails. Alex's chest felt tight. He realized now that the dinners, the tests, the trials, they had all been preparation, observation, and judgment. He was not being tested for his personal skills alone. He was standing as a representative of his people, and through him humanity itself was being measured. You have proven, Alex, she said finally, that humans can rise to challenges beyond their knowledge, that you can adapt to danger, to chaos, to uncertainty, and still act for the good of others. That is why I invited you here. That is why the trial was necessary. You are not only a guest in our home, you are a symbol. You are proof that humans deserve respect, trust, and partnership in this galaxy. Alex blinked, overwhelmed. His mind raced with images of the trial, the collapsing corridors, the fire, the creatures, the children he led to safety. Each moment flashed in his memory, and he finally understood. Every fear, every hesitation, every choice he made had mattered far more than he ever imagined. Koro came closer and placed a hand on Alex's shoulder. "You see now, don't you?" he asked softly. "You were always the right choice. Not because you are the strongest, not because you are the smartest, but because you are human." Alex nodded slowly, a mix of pride, relief, and humility filling him. He had never thought of himself as extraordinary, but perhaps that was the point. Humans were extraordinary in ways they often failed to recognize. Persistence, courage, creativity, hope. Qualities so ordinary to them were invaluable to the wider galaxy. As he left Koro's home that night, Alex looked up at the stars through the colony dome. The future suddenly felt larger, brighter, and more full of possibility than ever before. He had been chosen, not because of personal greatness, but because humanity itself had something worth showing. And for the first time, Alex understood that sometimes being human was not about knowledge, strength, or skill. It was about spirit, action, and the courage to move forward when no one else could see the path. The days that followed were quiet but heavy for Alex. Life at the academy continued as usual, with lessons, exercises, and conversations, yet he felt different. He walked through the corridors with a new awareness, noticing the small details of human and alien life around him. Every choice he made, every word he spoke, now seemed to carry weight beyond his own self. Koro walked beside him during one of their evening walks in the colony streets. The silver light reflected from the domed glass above, bathing the streets in soft glow. "You think too much," Koro said with a faint smile. "But that is natural. You now carry something greater than yourself." Alex looked at him, unsure how to respond. I don't feel greater," he admitted. "I just feel different. Like I've seen something I didn't understand before." "You have," Koro said simply. "Your mother," he paused, correcting himself with a faint grin. "Your friend's mother. She was testing you, yes, but not to see if you could survive a vision or answer questions. She wanted to see what humans are truly capable of." Alex remembered the trials, the survival tests, the collapsing corridors, the creatures in the dark, and the children he had led to safety. Each moment now seemed like a message, a way to show something beyond ordinary skill or strength. He nodded slowly. "I think I understand now. It wasn't about me alone. It was about all of us, humans. I was just standing there doing what I would do, and somehow that proved something bigger." Koro's eyes glimmered faintly. "Exactly. You do not need to be the strongest or the smartest. Humans survive because you act, create, and persist. That is why we are respected and why we will continue to grow among the stars." The words resonated with Alex. He had never thought of his species as extraordinary. Humans had flaws, plenty of them. They argued, they made mistakes, they struggled. Yet they also adapted, endured, and invented ways to thrive even in the hardest conditions. And somehow those qualities mattered more than anything he had learned in school. That evening he returned to Koro's home one final time. Koro's mother greeted him with the calm warmth he had come to expect. She gestured for him to sit. "No trials awaited tonight, no tests. Only conversation. You have learned much," she said softly, her silver eyes reflecting the soft glow of the room. "And now, I hope you understand why you were invited." Alex nodded. "Yes, I think I do. You were showing me, and everyone watching, that humans are capable of more than we often believe." She smiled, a small and genuine expression. "Yes, humans are not perfect. You fail, you fear, you stumble, but that is precisely what makes your victories meaningful. You act when others would hesitate. You build when others would watch. You persist when others would give up. That is what I wish to see firsthand." Alex felt a sense of pride that was different from anything he had known. Not pride in himself, but pride in being part of humanity, in being able to show what his species could do when faced with the unknown. "Remember this," she continued. "The galaxy is vast, and we will face challenges we cannot predict. It is not the strongest or the fastest who will lead us forward. It is those who act with courage, hope, and perseverance. Humans carry these qualities naturally, and through you I have learned it is worth believing in them. Alex left the spiral home that night, his heart full of wonder and purpose. The streets glowed beneath his feet. The stars beyond the dome seemed brighter than ever, and he realized that life would never feel ordinary again. He was still Alex, a student, a human among many. But now he carried something heavier and lighter at the same time, the knowledge that his species, imperfect and flawed as it might be, had qualities the galaxy needed. In the days that followed, Alex returned to his studies with renewed focus. He helped others, shared ideas, and faced challenges with a calm determination that surprised even himself. And when he walked beside Koro in the colony streets, he knew they were partners in a galaxy that was larger, stranger, and more wondrous than he had ever imagined. Alex never forgot Koro's mother's words. They were a quiet reminder in every choice he made, to act, to create, to persist. That is what makes humans extraordinary. And for the first time, Alex understood that being human was not about being perfect. It was about rising even when the path was unknown, even when others doubted, and even when fear threatened to stop you. That was humanity's strength. And that was why he had been invited, why he had been tested, and why the galaxy had reason to notice them. As he looked up at the stars, Alex felt hope, not just for himself, not just for Koro or his family, but for all humans who would one day travel beyond the colony, into the unknown. He knew that they could endure, they could create, and they could thrive. Humanity was ready, and he had been chosen to show it. And in that moment, Alex smiled, not as a single boy, but as a symbol of his species, carrying the quiet, unyielding spirit of humans across the galaxy.